I'm going to show you how to film on an iPad using the regular camera app, but this applies to any kind of phone or tablet. Depending on what model you have, your rear-facing camera might have a higher resolution than the front-facing camera. I film with my rear-facing camera, which means I'm not watching myself while I'm filming. The screen's on the other side. It takes a little experimenting to get all this set up right, but when you think you have it in the right position, look all the way around the edges of the frame to be sure nothing weird is sticking into the camera's view. And be sure you do this when you're already in video mode, not photo mode, because the size is a little different. You might decide you want to make a few takes, or you might be making a lot of videos for a lot of books. So be sure and make sure of some landmarks so that you can set your camera back up easily next time you do it. For instance, take a picture of where your camera is positioned on your desk or table or floor, and just make sure you've identified some landmarks or put down some little pieces of tape so you could put it all back in place. Another way I use landmarks is I look through the viewfinder and make sure that certain things in the background are in the same place every time. Now, I have my desktop computer set up behind my iPad and I'm running Teleprompter Mirror. This is the free online software. It's always available on their website. You just copy and paste your script right into the teleprompter. Remember how I told you to put every sentence on a different line? This is why. It turns out that this just makes reading a teleprompter a little easier. And I'm only talking about line breaks here. You don't have to use actual blank lines except if you want to put in a pause, like maybe if there's a shift in tone. There's also a setting on Teleprompter Mirror that lets you adjust the speed. I figured out that my speed is 23. You're just going to have to experiment and figure out what yours is. Then I always put a bunch of line breaks at the very beginning of my script so that once I hit go, I have time to go sit down before the text starts scrolling up the screen. Once you have all that set up, plug in your microphone, attach it to your shirt, hit record on the camera, and hit play on the teleprompter and go sit down. Now, here's a few hints about actually being on camera. First of all, look at the camera. I keep the teleprompter right behind the actual camera so I can sort of glance between the two of them, but I really try to look directly into the camera as much as I possibly can. Also, I tend to do this thing where I take a breath right before I start talking. It's kind of like this. Hi, I'm Amy Stewart. But it's a little weird to start your video with that big breathy sound. So if you do that too, then the thing to do is to take a breath, hold it, smile, and then talk, kind of like this. Hi, I'm Amy Stewart. Now, if you mess up and you need to start over again, you can of course jump up and delete that video and start again. But if you'd rather just cut it out in editing, the thing to do when you make a mistake is to stop talking. Just close your mouth. Don't say something like, oh, hey, I need to cut this out, I'm going to start again. The silence is actually much more useful in the editing process. So just stop, take a breath, and do it again. Also, remember to smile. Once I started watching myself on camera, I realized that I actually have to be way more animated and cheerful than I probably am in normal life. I'm not saying to overdo it, but you do need to be kind of lively. Now, at the beginning and end of your video, you're going to need just a second of you looking at the camera and smiling. This is for editing purposes. When you finish, bring your script to a definite ending, look at the camera, smile, and hold it for just a second, kind of like this. I hope you love the Kopp sisters as much as I do. Thanks for reading. That's plenty. You just need a few seconds of that at the beginning and at the end. What else? I know you're probably going to want to watch your video and decide you want to do it again. You might film it a few times before you get it right and make adjustments to your script as you go, and that's fine. But don't worry about it being too perfect. You want to come across as a real person. We live in an age where everybody's making videos all the time, and nobody expects it to be flawless. Now, once you're done, you're a writer. I hope you know what to do next. Make a backup. Whether you use a backup service like iCloud or Google Photos, or you upload it to Dropbox, or you just plug it into your desktop computer and copy the file over, do that right away. All right, once you have your video and you've made a backup of it, it's time to work on some images.